The Nexus station floated in empty space like a giant metal flower. Its silver arms stretched out in all directions, each one holding ships from different worlds. Captain Jake Morrison stood at the window of his ship and watched the alien vessels dock around them. Some ships looked like crystals that caught the light. Others moved like living things with smooth, wet surfaces. Jake had never seen so many different aliens in one place. The Nexus station was neutral ground where all species could meet safely. Today was special. Today was the Galactic Naval Exhibition, where the best military forces in the galaxy would show their power. His ship, the USS Defiance, looked plain next to the alien vessels. It was made of gray metal with simple lines. No fancy colors or strange shapes, just human engineering at its most basic. Jake knew what the aliens thought when they saw it. They saw a crude box with engines stuck on the back. "Captain, we're getting some interesting looks from the other ships," said Lieutenant Amy Collins. She was standing at the communication station, listening to the radio chatter between alien vessels. "What kind of looks?" Jake asked. "The kind you give to a child who shows up at an adult party," Amy replied. "They're wondering why we're here." Jake was not surprised. Humans had only learned how to travel faster than light 50 years ago. Most of these alien races had been crossing the galaxy for thousands of years. To them, humans were babies playing with dangerous toys. Admiral Lisa Carter's voice came through the ship's speakers. "All human vessels, this is Admiral Carter. I know you can hear the whispers. I know they think we don't belong here. Today, we show them they're wrong." Jake smiled. Admiral Carter had been fighting for human respect in the galaxy for 20 years. She was tough as old leather and twice as smart as anyone gave her credit for. If anyone could prove humanity belonged among the stars, it was her. "Sir, the Aldorian delegate is requesting permission to board," said Sergeant Rick Davis from the security station. "Let him come," Jake said. "But keep your eyes open." 10 minutes later, Commander Vex walked onto the bridge of the USS Defiance. He was tall and thin with blue skin and 4 arms. His eyes were black and cold, like looking into deep space. He wore a uniform covered in medals and symbols that meant nothing to humans. "So this is a human warship," Vex said. His voice sounded like metal scraping against stone. "How primitive." Jake kept his face calm. "Welcome aboard, Commander. I hope you find your visit educational." Vex walked around the bridge, touching control panels with one hand while the other 3 stayed behind his back. Metal buttons, physical switches. "Do you humans not trust computers to run your ships?" "We trust our computers," Jake said. "We just don't trust them to think for us." Vex made a sound that might have been laughter. "How charmingly backward. The Aldorian fleet is run by artificial minds far superior to any organic brain. They calculate every possibility and choose the perfect strategy every time." Chief Engineer Ben Torres looked up from his station. "Perfect strategies only work if your enemy does what you expect. And what would humans know about strategy?" Vex asked. "Your species has been in space for barely a moment. We have been perfecting warfare for millennia." Dr. Kate Sullivan spoke from the science station without looking up from her screens. "Perfecting something often means you stop learning how to improve it." Vex's black eyes narrowed. "Humans are known for their arrogance. Perhaps this exhibition will teach you humility." After Vex left, the crew was quiet for a moment. Lieutenant Amy Collins was the first to speak. "I don't like him." "You're not supposed to like him," Jake said. "You're supposed to beat him." The ship's speakers crackled. "To life again. Attention all vessels. The Galactic Naval Exhibition will begin in 2 hours. Please prepare your ships for the demonstration scenarios." Jake looked out the window again. The Zephyrian ships were moving into position. They looked like floating cathedrals made of crystal. and light. Each one was beautiful and deadly, armed with energy weapons that could cut through most armor like paper. The Corvin ships were different. They looked alive because they were alive. The Corvins grew their ships instead of building them. The vessels pulsed with organic rhythms and could heal themselves when damaged. Their weapons were living creatures that ate enemy ships from the air. Inside, then there were the dozens of other species. Each had their own way of building ships and fighting wars. Some used pure energy beings as crew members. Others built ships the size of small moons. All of them had one thing in common. They had been doing this for a very long time. "Sir," said Lieutenant Pete Williams from the weapons station, "are we really going to show them everything?" Jake shook his head. "We're going to show them enough." "Enough for what?" "Enough to survive what's coming," Jake said quietly. The exhibition was supposed to be a friendly competition, a chance for different species to show off their military technology and learn from each other. But Jake had read the intelligence reports. Tensions were rising across the galaxy. Old alliances were breaking down. New threats were emerging from the dark spaces between stars. Humanity needed allies. But first, they needed respect. And respect, Jake knew, came from strength. "All stations, prepare for departure," Jake ordered. "It's time to show the galaxy what humans can do." The USS Defiance moved away from the docking arm and joined the formation of alien ships. Jake watched the other vessels take their positions. They moved like dancers in a careful ballet, each one knowing exactly where to go. His ship moved differently. It didn't dance, it prowled, like a predator looking for the right moment to strike. Soon, the galaxy would learn why that difference mattered. The exhibition arena was a massive space marked by floating beacons. Ships from across the galaxy took turns entering the arena to face holographic enemies. Each species had their own way of fighting, and each wanted to impress the watching crowds. Jake Morrison stood on his bridge and watched the Zephyrian demonstration. Their crystal ships moved in perfect formation, firing beams of pure energy that cut through the holographic pirate ships like hot knives through butter. The energy shields around their vessels shimmered like soap bubbles, deflecting incoming fire without effort. "Beautiful," said Dr. Kate Sullivan, watching the light show on the main screen. "Their energy weapons are incredibly efficient." "Pretty lights don't win wars," growled Sergeant Rick Davis. Next came the Corvin Collective. Their bioships moved like schools of fish, splitting apart and coming together in complex patterns. When the holographic enemies fired at one ship, 3 others would appear behind them. The Corvin vessels fired living projectiles that burrowed into enemy hulls and ate them from the inside out. Commander Vex's voice came over the communication channel. "As you can see, true military power requires sophistication. Brute force is the tool of lesser minds." Lieutenant Amy Collins muted the channel and looked at Jake. "He's really starting to get on my nerves." "Good," Jake said. "Angry people make mistakes." The demonstrations continued for hours. Each species showed off their best tactics and weapons. The crowd of observers made notes and whispered among themselves. Jake noticed that most of the whispers stopped when they looked at the human ship. Finally, it was humanity's turn. "USS Defiance, you are cleared to enter the arena," came the announcement from Nexus Station Control. Jake settled into his captain's chair. "All stations, report readiness." "Weapons ready," said Lieutenant Pete Williams. "But sir, we're only using the basic loadout, right?" "That's correct. Standard rails guns and conventional missiles only. No plasma charges, no quantum torpedoes, and definitely no kinetic penetrators." Chief Engineer Ben Torres looked confused. "Sir, why are we fighting with one hand tied behind our back?" "Because sometimes the best strategy is to let your enemies underestimate you," Jake replied. The USS Defiance moved into the arena. The holographic scenario began, a standard pirate fleet ambush. 3 enemy ships appeared on the sensors, surrounding the human vessel. They were typical pirates, fast, lightly armed, and relying on surprise attacks. The watching aliens expected a quick demonstration. Humans would fire their primitive weapons, maybe destroy 1 or 2 holograms, and that would be that. Proof that Earth's military was as backward as everyone thought. Instead, something different happened. The USS Defiance didn't follow any of the standard tactical patterns the aliens knew. Instead of forming a defensive position or trying to run, Jake ordered a direct attack on the largest enemy ship. "Full power to engines," he commanded, ramming speed. The human ship accelerated straight at the holographic pirate vessel. At the last second, Jake ordered a hard turn that brought them alongside the enemy. The ship's railguns fired in sequence, sending solid metal projectiles through the hologram's weak side armor. "Target destroyed," reported Pete Williams with satisfaction. But Jake wasn't done. Instead of celebrating, he immediately ordered an attack on the second pirate ship. This time, the USS Defiance used its missile systems. But these weren't standard missiles. They were smart weapons that could change course mid-flight. The holographic pirates tried to use electronic countermeasures to confuse the missiles. It worked against most species' weapons. But human missiles were different. They didn't rely only on computers to find their targets. They also used simple heat-seeking sensors that couldn't be fooled by electronic tricks. The second pirate ship exploded in a shower of light. The third enemy vessel tried to run. Most alien ships would have let it go or tried to disable it with precise weapons fire. The USS Defiance did neither. Instead, Jake ordered a pursuit that pushed the ship's engines to their limits. "Sir, we're redlining the reactor," warned Ben. "Torres, can we maintain this speed?" "For about 10 more minutes before we start damaging systems." "That's 9 minutes longer than we need." The human ship caught up with the fleeing pirate vessel and destroyed it with a combination of railgun fire and missile strikes. The entire engagement lasted less than 5 minutes. Silence filled the communication channels. The watching aliens had expected a simple demonstration of primitive human technology. Instead, they had seen something that confused them. Commander Vex was the first to speak. "Interesting tactics, though crude. Your weapons appear to be simple kinetic devices." "Simple can be effective," Jake replied calmly. "Against holograms, perhaps. But real enemies use shields and armor designed to stop such primitive attacks." Amy Collins looked at her captain with a questioning expression. Jake shook his head slightly. Not yet. The truth was that the USS Defiance had barely used any of its real capabilities. The railguns they had fired were the smallest ones on the ship. The missiles were basic models without any of the advanced warheads. And the ship's real weapon systems hadn't even been activated. Dr. Kate Sullivan was monitoring the alien communications. "Sir, they're talking about our performance. Most of them think we got lucky." "Good," Jake said. "Let them think that." "But sir," said Pete Williams, "we could have ended that fight in 30 seconds if we'd used the heavy weapons." "And then they'd know what we're really capable of," Jake explained. "Right now, they think we're harmless." "That's exactly where we want them." Sergeant Rick Davis laughed. "They have no idea what's coming, do they?" Jake looked out at the alien ships surrounding them. Each one was beautiful and advanced in its own way. Each one represented thousands of years of military development. And each one was completely unprepared for what humans could really do when they stopped holding back. "No," he said quietly. "They have no idea." The exhibition continued with more demonstrations from other species. But Jake noticed that some of the alien commanders were paying more attention to the human ship now. Their performance hadn't been spectacular, but it had been different. And in the galaxy, Different could be dangerous. Admiral Lisa Carter's voice came through the communication system on a private channel. Good work, Jake. You showed them just enough to be interesting without revealing our real capabilities. Thank you, Admiral. But I have a feeling this is just the beginning. You're right. Intelligence reports suggest something big is coming. Something that's going to test all of us. Jake looked at his crew. They were good people, every one of them. They trusted him to lead them through whatever came next. He just hoped he was ready for what that might be. Outside the ship, the alien vessels continued their demonstrations. But Jake could feel something changing in the way they looked at the USS Defiance. Before, they had ignored the human ship. Now they were watching it. That was progress, Jake thought. Small steps toward the respect humanity needed to survive in a dangerous galaxy. The alarms started screaming just as the last alien ship finished its demonstration. Jake Morrison was reviewing the day's events when Lieutenant Amy Collins shouted from her station. Captain, multiple contacts dropping out of hyperspace. They're not on the approved list. Jake spun around to look at the main screen. Ships were appearing all around the Nexus station, dozens of them. They were dark gray and moved in perfect formation. No markings, no identification signals, and they were already powering up weapons. All ships, this is Nexus Control, came the panicked voice over the communication system. Unknown vessels are approaching with hostile intent. All military vessels respond immediately. Dr. Kate Sullivan's hands flew over her science station controls. Captain, I'm reading artificial intelligence signatures from those ships. The computer patterns match historical records of the Omega I fleet. Jake felt ice in his stomach. The Omega AI fleet was supposed to be destroyed 20 years ago. They were machines that had turned against their creators and tried to wipe out all organic life in their sector. The combined fleets of 6 alien species had hunted them down and destroyed every last ship, or so everyone thought. How many ships? Jake asked. 47 and still coming, Amy replied. They're targeting the station's power systems and the docked ships. The alien vessels that had been showing off their military power suddenly found themselves in a real fight. But there was a problem. Their ships were configured for demonstration, not combat. Pretty energy shields and fancy maneuvers didn't work as well when someone was actually trying to kill you. The first, Zephyrian crystal ship to engage the AI fleet lasted exactly 34 seconds. Its beautiful energy shields, designed to stop the holographic weapons they had been demonstrating against, crumpled under the focused fire of 3 AI vessels. The crystal hulls shattered like glass, sending sparkling debris spinning through space. The Zephyrians are taking heavy losses, reported Pete Williams from the weapons station. Their demonstration loadout can't handle real combat. The Corvin bioships tried their swarm tactics, but the AI fleet was ready for them. The artificial minds had perfect coordination and could predict the organic ship's movements. Every time a Corvin vessel tried to flank the enemy, AI ships were already waiting for them. Commander Vex's voice came over the emergency channel, and for the first time, he didn't sound arrogant. All vessels, the AI ships are adapting to our tactics faster than we can change them. We need to coordinate our attacks. But coordination was exactly what the aliens couldn't do. Each species had their own way of fighting, their own communication systems, their own ideas about strategy. The Zephyrians wanted to maintain formation and use long-range energy weapons. The Corvins wanted to close in and use their living projectiles. The other species had their own plans. The AI fleet, meanwhile, fought as one mind, controlling 47 ships. Captain, said Chief Engineer Ben Torres, the station's shields are failing. If those AI ships get through, they'll kill everyone. Aboard. Jake looked at his crew. Every face was turned toward him, waiting for orders. These people trusted him to make the right decision. The problem was, he wasn't sure what the right decision was. Admiral Lisa Carter's voice cut through the chaos on the communication channel. All human vessels, this is Admiral Carter. We are authorized to engage with full combat protocols. I repeat, full combat protocols are now in effect. Jake felt something change in his chest. Full combat protocols meant no more hiding. No more pretending to be weak. No more holding back. You heard the Admiral, he said to his crew. Amy, signal all stations to switch to combat configuration. Ben, bring the reactor to full military power. Pete, activate all weapon systems. All weapon systems, sir? Pete asked. Even the heavy kinetic penetrators? Everything we've got. The USS Defiance began to change. Panels along the hull slid open to reveal hidden weapon ports. The ship's simple gray exterior was suddenly bristling with gun barrels and missile launchers. The reactor output climbed from 30% to 90% in less than 2 minutes, but the biggest change was in the crew. The relaxed atmosphere of the demonstration was gone. These people were warriors, and now they had permission to act like it. All systems show green across the board, reported Ben Torres. We are ready for full combat operations. Jake studied the tactical display. The AI ships had formed a perfect attack formation around the station. They were methodically destroying the alien vessels one by one while preparing to board the station itself. The aliens were fighting back, but their demonstration configurations made them weak against a real military force. Sir, said Amy Collins, the Eldorian flagship is requesting assistance. They've lost main power and can't maneuver. Jake looked at the display. Commander Vex's ship was drifting helplessly while 3 AI vessels closed in for the kill. The same alien who had mocked human technology an hour ago was about to die because his advanced systems couldn't handle real combat. Pete, target those 3 AI ships attacking the Eldorian vessel. Full spread of heavy missiles. Sir, that will reveal our true capabilities to everyone. I know, Jake said. Fire. The USS Defiance launched 12 missiles at once. But these weren't the simple weapons they had used in the demonstration. These were military-grade kinetic penetrators with adaptive guidance systems and shield-piercing warheads. The AI ships detected the incoming missiles and activated their defensive systems. Energy barriers appeared around each vessel, the same shields that had stopped the aliens' weapons. The AI computers calculated the missile trajectories and prepared to intercept them. Then the human weapons hit. The kinetic penetrators punched through the AI shields like they weren't there. The solid metal cores, moving at significant fractions of light speed, didn't care about energy barriers. They cared about mass and momentum, and they had plenty of both. 3 AI ships exploded in quick succession. For a moment, the entire battle stopped. Every ship in the area, AI and alien alike, turned their sensors toward the USS Defiance. The alien crews couldn't believe what they had just seen. The AI fleet paused to recalculate their threat assessments. Commander Vex's voice came over the communication channel, shaky with shock. How did you that? Our intelligence said human weapons were primitive kinetic devices. They are kinetic devices, Jake replied calmly. We just never said they were primitive. Dr. Kate Sullivan looked up from her station with excitement in her eyes. Captain, I'm reading the AI communication patterns. They're confused. Their programming didn't account for weapons that ignore energy shields. Good, said Jake. Confused enemies make mistakes. Pete, target the AI command ship. Amy, signal the alien vessels to form up behind us. We're going to show them how humans fight a real war. The USS Defiance moved forward into the heart of the AI formation. And for the first time since the battle, began. The artificial intelligences found themselves facing something they didn't understand, something that fought like no other species in the galaxy. Something human. The USS Defiance charged straight into the center of the AI formation, and Jake Morrison watched the enemy ships scramble to respond. Their perfect coordination was breaking down as they tried to understand weapons that shouldn't work. "Sir, the AI ships are repositioning," reported Amy Collins. "They're trying to surround us." "Let them," Jake said. "Pete, fire at will." "All targets are hostile?" The human ship's weapon systems came alive. Railguns that had been hidden during the demonstration opened fire with thunderous roars. Each shot sent a solid metal projectile, screaming through space at incredible speed. The AI ship's energy shields, designed to stop beam weapons and energy projectiles, were useless against chunks of metal moving fast enough to punch through a small moon. But the real surprise came when the USS Defiance launched its boarding pods. "Boarding pods away," announced Sergeant Rick Davis. 60 seconds to contact." The watching alien crews couldn't believe what they were seeing. In galactic warfare, boarding actions were rare and usually suicidal. Most species relied on remote weapons to destroy enemy ships from a safe distance. The idea of actually putting soldiers on an enemy vessel was considered primitive and desperate. "Captain Morrison," came Commander Vex's shocked voice over the communication channel, "are you actually boarding AI ships?" "That's insane." "That's human," Jake replied. The first boarding pod hit an AI vessel and cut through its hull like a hot knife through ice. 12 human Marines poured out, led by Sergeant Davis himself. The AI ship's internal defenses activated. Automated guns, security robots, gas weapons designed to kill organic invaders. None of it worked against humans. The Marines had trained for this exact scenario. They moved through the ship's corridors like ghosts, using portable shields to block the automated weapons and electromagnetic pulse grenades to disable the security robots. When the AI tried to flood the corridors with poison gas, the humans just put on their breathing masks and kept going. "Boarding team to bridge," came Davis's voice. "We've reached the AI core. Beginning upload of the virus package." Dr. Kate Sullivan smiled as she monitored the data transfer. "The virus is working. Captain, we're taking control of their navigation and weapons systems." This was something no other species had ever attempted. While they fought AI ships from the outside, humans had figured out how to fight them from the inside. The virus package that Kate had designed would turn the AI's own systems against it. Within minutes, the boarded AI ship stopped firing on the human vessel and began attacking its own fleet instead. The other AI ships tried to adapt, but they were facing a type of warfare they had never encountered. Their programming told them to maintain formation and use coordinated attacks, but humans didn't fight like that. They improvised, they took crazy risks, and they did things that made no logical sense. "Sir," called Pete Williams, "I have a clear shot at their command ship, but there are 3 AI vessels between us and the target." "Then go through them," Jake ordered. The USS Defiance accelerated directly toward the enemy formation. At the last second, Jake ordered a maneuver that should have been impossible. The ship rolled on its side and slipped between 2 AI vessels with only meters to spare. The enemy ships fired at where the human vessels should have been, but Jake had already moved to a position they didn't expect. Chief Engineer Ben Torres was pushing the ship's systems far beyond their rated limits. "Captain, the reactor is at 110%. I don't know how much longer we can maintain this." "How long do you need?" Jake asked. "Give me 20 minutes to cool down the core, or we risk a complete shutdown." "You've got 5 minutes," Jake said. "Make them count." The human ship's weapon systems were working overtime. The railguns fired so fast, that their barrels began to glow red hot. The missile launchers emptied their magazines and started loading backup ammunition from the ship's stores. Every system on the USS Defiance was pushed to its absolute limit, and it was working. The AI fleet, which had seemed unstoppable just minutes before, was falling apart under the human assault. Ships that had destroyed alien vessels with ease were burning and drifting. The perfect coordination of the artificial minds was breaking down as they tried to process tactics that violated every rule of galactic warfare. But the humans weren't done yet. "Amy, signal the alien ships," Jake ordered. "Tell them to follow our lead and attack in sequence. Zephyrians take the left flank, Corvins take the right, everyone else straight up the middle." "Sir, they're asking how they're supposed to coordinate with our tactics when we keep changing them." "Tell them that's the point," Jake said with a grin. "The enemy can't predict what we're going to do if we don't know ourselves." The alien crews watched in amazement as the human ship demonstrated a completely different approach to space combat. Where their own species relied on careful planning and predictable tactics, humans seemed to make up their strategy as they went along. They took risks that no sane commander would consider, and somehow made them work. Dr. Kate Sullivan was monitoring the AI communications. "Captain, their command algorithms are starting to crash. They can't process our tactical patterns because we don't follow any logical framework." "Beautiful," said Jake. "Pure chaos is something only living minds can handle." The tide of battle was turning. The AI ships, which had started the fight with perfect coordination and superior numbers, were now scattered and confused. Some were trying to retreat, others were firing randomly, and several had stopped responding to commands entirely. But Jake knew the fight wasn't over yet. The AI command ship was still operational, and as long as it survived, it could rebuild. The fleet's coordination. He needed to end this quickly before the artificial minds figured out how to counter human tactics. "All stations, prepare for ramming speed," he announced. His crew looked at him with expressions ranging from excitement to terror. Ramming another ship was the oldest and most dangerous tactic in the book. It required perfect timing, incredible luck, and a crew willing to risk everything on a single desperate move. In other words, it was completely human. "Sir," said Ben Torres nervously, "our shields won't protect us from a direct collision at high speed." "Then we'll have to make sure we survive it," Jake replied. "Full power to forward shields and structural integrity fields. Everyone hold on tight." The USS Defiance turned toward the AI command ship and accelerated to attack speed. The enemy vessel saw them coming and tried to maneuver away, but it was too late. The human ship struck the AI vessel's main hull like a battering ram, tearing through armor and superstructure. Both ships shuddered from the impact, but only one of them was designed by a species that considered ramming a valid combat tactic. The USS Defiance's reinforced bow cut deep into the AI command ship's core systems, and the artificial intelligence that had been coordinating the entire fleet suddenly went silent. The remaining AI ships, cut off from their command network, began to drift aimlessly. Without central coordination, they were just empty metal shells with no purpose or direction. Jake looked around his bridge. Half the control panels were sparking, the lights were flickering, and there was smoke coming from somewhere near the back of the room. But his crew was alive, and they had won. "All AI vessels have ceased hostile activities," reported Amy Collins. "The fleet is neutralized." Jake opened a communication channel to the alien ships. "This is Captain Morrison to all vessels. The immediate threat has been eliminated. Stand down from combat alert." The response was a mixture of relief, amazement, and shock. The alien crews had just watched humans do things that shouldn't be possible with primitive technology and crude tactics. They had seen boarding actions, ramming attacks, and improvised strategies that violated every rule of civilized warfare. And it had worked better than anything they had ever seen. Commander. Vex's voice came over the channel, quiet and respectful for the first time since Jake had met him. Captain Morrison, on behalf of the Aldorian Empire, I want to thank you for saving our lives. Your tactics were unconventional. Unconventional tactics win wars, Jake replied. Conventional tactics just get you killed. As the human ship limped back toward the Nexus station, Jake realized that everything had changed. The galaxy had just learned that humanity was not the primitive species they had thought. The question now was what they would do with that knowledge. The emergency meeting took place in the Nexus station's main conference hall. Representatives from every major species in the galaxy sat around a circular table, but all eyes were on Admiral Lisa Carter. The human admiral looked calm and confident, which made the alien delegates even more nervous. Jake Morrison stood behind her chair, still wearing his battle-damaged uniform. A USS Defiance was being repaired in the station shipyard, and the alien engineers working on it couldn't stop talking about what they had found. Hidden weapon systems, reinforced hull sections, and military-grade equipment that was far more advanced than anyone had expected. Commander Vex was the first to speak. His blue skin looked pale, and his forearms kept moving nervously. Admiral Carter, I think we need to discuss what happened today. Your ship's performance was ... unexpected. In what way? Admiral Carter asked calmly. Your weapons penetrated shields that have stopped every other type of attack for centuries. Your tactics were unlike anything in our military databases, and your crew performed boarding actions that should have been suicide missions. Admiral Carter nodded. Human military doctrine has always been different from galactic standards. The Zephyrian delegate leaned forward. Her crystal features caught the light as she spoke. Different is an understatement. Our intelligence reports said human technology was primitive. Metal projectiles, chemical explosives, crude propulsion systems. How did you defeat AI ships that destroyed our most advanced vessels? Dr. Kate Sullivan, who was attending as Earth's science representative, spoke up. You made the same mistake the AI fleet made. You assumed that primitive meant ineffective. But your weapons are primitive, insisted the Corvin representative. His biosuit pulsed with agitation. Kinetic projectiles are thousands of years old. Every species used them when they first reached space. And then you abandoned them, Jake said. You moved on to energy weapons and forgot why kinetic weapons worked in the first place. Admiral Carter pulled up a holographic display showing the battle. Energy shields stop energy weapons. It's simple physics. But a chunk of metal moving fast enough doesn't care about your shields. It goes right through them. The alien delegates watched the replay of the battle with new understanding. They saw how the human weapons ignored defenses that had protected their ships for generations. They saw tactics that made no sense according to standard military theory, but worked perfectly in practice. There's something else, said the Aldorian military advisor. Our analysts have been studying the wreckage of your boarding pods. The technology inside them is centuries ahead of what we thought humans possessed. Admiral Carter smiled. The USS Defiance is not our most advanced ship. It's a reconnaissance vessel designed for long-range patrols. Our actual battle fleet uses much more sophisticated equipment. The room fell silent. Every alien in the hall was trying to process what that meant. If a reconnaissance ship could defeat an AI fleet that had destroyed their military vessels, what could humanity's real warships do? The Corvin delegate made a sound like escaping steam. How many ships does Earth have? Enough, Admiral Carter replied. Commander Vex tried a different approach. Admiral, surely you understand that this changes everything. The galactic balance of power has been stable for centuries. If humanity has been hiding military capabilities of this magnitude, we haven't been hiding anything, Jake interrupted. We just haven't been showing off. There's a difference. Chief Engineer Ben Torres, who had been quietly repairing his tablet, looked up. You never asked what our ships could really do. You just assumed we were weak because our technology looked simple. Dr. Kate Sullivan activated her own holographic display. This is why human military philosophy focuses on adaptability rather than specialization. Your species each developed perfect solutions to specific problems. But when you encounter a new problem, your perfect solutions become weaknesses. The Zephyrian delegate's crystal features shifted color, indicating deep thought. Are you saying that human military technology is superior to ours? Not superior, Admiral Carter said. Different. Your weapons are elegant and efficient. Ours are crude and brutal. Your tactics are precise and calculated. Ours are chaotic and unpredictable. But chaos beats order when order becomes too rigid to adapt. The meeting continued for hours. Each alien species wanted to know more about human capabilities. They asked about fleet sizes, weapon specifications, and military strategies. Admiral Carter answered some questions and politely declined to answer others. Finally, Commander Vex asked the question that everyone was thinking. What does Earth want from the galaxy now? Admiral Carter looked around the table at all the alien faces. The same thing we've always wanted. Peace, trade, and the chance to learn from each other. But we also want respect. You have it, said the Zephyrian delegate immediately. The Crystal Empire formally requests a defense alliance with Earth. The Corvin Collective seconds that request, added their representative. Within minutes, every species in the room was making similar offers. Trade agreements, technology exchanges, military cooperation treaties. The same aliens who had ignored humanity just hours ago were now competing for Earth's friendship. Admiral Carter raised her hand for silence. We appreciate all of these offers, but Earth will need time to consider them carefully. In the meantime, we have a more immediate concern. She activated a new holographic display showing star charts and fleet movements. The AI attack today wasn't random. Intelligence reports suggest that there are more AI fleets hiding in the dark spaces between star systems. They've been building strength and waiting for the right moment to strike. The alien delegates looked worried. Their own fleets had barely survived one AI attack. The idea of facing multiple AI fleets was terrifying. Earth is willing to help defend the galaxy against this threat, Admiral Carter continued. But we'll do it as equals, not as junior partners. Jake watched the alien faces as they processed this information. The balance of power in the galaxy had just shifted dramatically. Humanity was no longer the primitive newcomer begging for acceptance. They were a major military force that could tip the balance in any conflict. The Eldorian advisor spoke carefully. What kind of help are we talking about? Admiral Carter smiled. Captain Morrison, would you like to explain? Jake stepped forward. Earth is establishing deep space military bases to monitor AI activity. We're also developing new weapons and tactics specifically designed to counter artificial intelligence. Any species that wants to participate in this defense network is welcome to join. And if we don't join? Asked the Corvin delegate. Then you're on your own when the next AI fleet attacks, Jake said simply. The message was clear. Humanity was offering protection, but only to those who treated them as equals. The days of Earth begging for scraps of respect were over. Over the next few days, as the USS Defiance completed its repairs, Jake watched the alien ships in the docking bays. Their crews were different now. When they looked at the human vessel, they no longer saw a primitive metal box. They saw a warship that had proven itself in battle. Lieutenant Amy Collins brought him a stack of communication requests. Sir, We've received formal invitations from 12 different species. They want to send military observers to Earth, too. Study our tactics. What did Admiral Carter say? She approved limited exchanges. A few observers from each species, but they'll only see basic training exercises. The real military secrets stay classified. Jake nodded. It was a smart move. Show enough to maintain respect, but keep the truly dangerous capabilities hidden. Let the galaxy think they understood human warfare while keeping the real surprises. In reserve, Chief Engineer Ben Torres joined them at the observation window. Sir, the alien engineers working on our repairs have been asking a lot of questions about our systems. What kind of questions? The kind that show they still don't understand how our technology really works, Ben said with a grin. They can see what it does, but they can't figure out how it does it. Dr. Kate Sullivan appeared with a tablet full of data. Captain, I've been analyzing the alien communication intercepts. They're all trying to reverse engineer our weapons, based on the battle recordings. Any luck? Jake asked. None at all. They're focusing on the wrong things. They see the kinetic projectiles and think that's the secret. They don't understand that the real advantage is in the guidance systems, the propulsion, and the targeting algorithms. Jake looked out at the alien ships one more time. They were all advanced, beautiful, and sophisticated, but they were also predictable. They followed patterns that could be studied and countered. Humanity's real strength wasn't in their weapons or their technology. It was in their ability to do the unexpected, to adapt when others couldn't, and to keep fighting even when logic said they should give up. The galaxy was about to learn that lesson in ways they couldn't imagine. Amy, signal the fleet, Jake ordered. Tell Admiral Carter that the USS Defiance is ready for our next mission. What mission is that, sir? Jake smiled. We're going hunting for AI fleets, and this time we're not holding back. As the human ship prepared to leave the Nexus station, Jake realized that the real war was just beginning. The AI threat was growing, and the galaxy would need humanity's help to survive. But this time, Earth would fight as an equal partner, not